The last live I did, I wasn't expecting to go live. That was live number 3 pertaining to tiny home living. But sadly, I wanted to come on before all the hell breaks loose by tomorrow. It is with regret that the 2 women missing out of Kansas, bodies have been found, 2 bodies, and they are believed to be those of Veronica Butler and Miss Jillian. I will bring you this information by News Nation. Thank you for joining me.
You have breaking news to get to right now. Just coming into our newsroom, a sad ending. The bodies believed to be the 2 Kansas moms found by police in Oklahoma. This information just coming in right now. 27-year-old Veronica Butler and 39-year-old Jillian Kelly last seen March 30th. Tiffany Adams, a grandmother of one of the kids, one of the people now arrested after Butler and Kelly disappeared. Let's get straight to News Nation's Nancy Liu live on the ground for us tonight. Nancy, tell us what you're learning now.
Well, Natasha, it's yet more deflating news for these communities in the Oklahoma Panhandle. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations had told me that they were searching vast areas of rural Texas County for the 2 women. And just minutes ago, we heard from OSBI that along with the FBI and the Texas County Sheriff's Department in a joint operation, they have recovered 2 deceased persons in rural Texas County, and both individuals are being transported to the Oklahoma Office of the Chief Medical Examiner to determine identification and cause of manner of death. So that means there is no positive identification that these bodies are Jillian Kelly and Veronica Butler, but of course, this discovery happened during their massive search for the 2 women. We are expecting a news conference tomorrow from the OSBI, and of course, News Nation will bring that to you live. They have provided very little information about their investigation all along. They have kept things very close to the vest, but this is exclusive video from just yesterday. News Nation on the ground capturing this exclusive footage as they closed in on the 4 suspects who they arrested yesterday, including Tiffany Adams, who is the grandmother to Butler's kids. And it's suspected that a custody dispute may be linked to all of this, what has turned out to be a case of double murder. But again, the breaking news tonight is that 2 bodies have been recovered. There's no positive identification of these 2 bodies. They are now on the way to the medical examiner's office, but these bodies were recovered during the search for these 2 women, Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. So yet more deflating news to an already tragic story, Natasha.
Yes, certainly, and I know you've been pointing out all night, Nancy, there are 6 children in all of this left without their mothers, but we appreciate you bringing that breaking update straight to us. Nancy Liu live in Texas County, Oklahoma tonight. Thank you. Thank you for...
All right, everybody, News Nation is the source of that said information. So as I had mentioned earlier on posts that I've posted, please go to my community page for the said information. What I asked is pertaining to what was mentioned on News Nation previously. Now, how can I word this? How did they find the women? Because News Nation had mentioned something about not seeing them search. But as you hear in this commentary, they were searching. So what we have to ask ourselves, did they hone in on the grandmother day 1, day 2, day 3, week 1? When did they hone in on her as a suspect? Is it from gathering information from friends, family, a husband, relative? Did somebody say, oh, this is what she was facing? She was trying to get custody of her children. Somebody related to those children is behind this. So they decided to look into the grandmother day 1. That's what I would like to know. And many people probably think, yes, that's probably what happened. They looked at the grandmother day 1 because she's the one who had physical custody of the said children. Allegedly, her son is in rehab. I would like to have verification of that. Naturally, you probably won't ever get that. But nonetheless, verification that he is in rehab would be good. And when did they exactly decide that she would be suspect number one or look into her as a possible suspect? Because naturally, when a person goes missing, they always start from the inside and work their way out. If they don't find anything inside of the person's inner circle, then they work their way out. So that's expected. So they're going to look at a husband, boyfriend, where she lived, who she talked to, where she worked, and then work their way out. So I'm assuming they looked at the husband, they looked at neighbors, they co-workers, but mainly grandma, since she was supposed to be going to court here, another week or so. This is a sad, sad case. It's like most true crime cases. There's no reasoning for the murder. In their sick minds, there was a reason to unalive this lady and this state worker. And you all are going to possibly be facing the death penalty because, one, you did kill a state worker. God forbid you got those ladies on the Kansas border or Kansas line and then took them and dumped them in Oklahoma, because I don't know if she actually made it in Oklahoma or not. That rest stop, is that in Oklahoma or is that in Kansas? See, all that's going to matter when it comes to bringing forward charges against all four. Now, what we have to ask ourselves, when searching this woman's property, other people's property, how did it lead to where these bodies were found? Data, GPS, or you arrested these people on probable cause, GPS, data, some CCTV footage, somebody talked in her circle, grandma's circle, or you went looking, arrest warrant, and then somebody talked in the circle. So is this a matter of they had a warrant, had a reason for a warrant to go to the properties of this woman and other cohorts, and then one of them just gave it up and just said, yes, we're involved, this is what we did, didn't do, and here's where you can find the bodies? Because that's what I'm curious to now, is how did the state police or FBI or whomever find the women? Was it by good old detective work, data, GPS data, anything looked up on Google search, or one of those heathens gave up the location? This is a horrible day. This is a horrible day for family members. This is a horrible day for friends, the communities, and a horrible day for the children, because we don't know these people. We don't know what was really going on with these people. I brought you information to this about this case earlier, because I did not talk about this case up until today, but it's baffling nonetheless because there are children involved. Now we have to ask, where are the children? Who has the children? Who's going to get sole and full custody of the children? Are we going to be back to square one with people wrangling over these kids? Because, see, that's another thing nobody's probably thinking about. Somebody has to rear these children. And right now, the state definitely wouldn't trust anybody related to either side to get custody of the children. And it's a shame, but then it's not a shame, because we don't know people. And it's obvious somebody didn't know this damn lady, how crazy she is. Now, if there's any truth to what the son was saying about her being threatening and volatile, I don't know. I don't know if he's volatile. I don't know what was going on with Miss Butler, but I do know there's a reason why she didn't have her kids and she didn't have custody of her children. And I'd like to hear the truth. But the one thing I've learned about true crime, everything's about a version. When you watch a lot of documentaries and versions and court trials and transcripts about people, what you always have to remember is that everything's a version. It's just like when you go to court and the judge says he can't let this in because it's hearsay. And then the opposing team, state, defense go back and forth about, no, you can't allow that because she said, he said, which I never can understand any of that, because everything's a version anyway. Everything's a version. Whether I say I heard it, I saw it, or I say Petey said it, Petey saw it. What's the difference? There is no difference. So you don't really know what's the truth about anything. Just like all those years of watching movies made into true crime stories made into movies, okay? Perfect example. All that time I was sitting here thinking, now that I'm an adult, a lot of that stuff would say, this is a reenactment of what transpired such a day, or this is loosely based on such and such. Kind of like what Law and Order would do. They would change the name, change the race of the people. If it was a son that was maybe who killed his parents, it'd be a daughter who killed her parents. See what I'm saying? They would change it. So that's kind of like the movies they used to make back in the day, 20, 30 years ago. It's reenactment, loosely based. So then you have to think about it. Because when you're young, you're really not thinking about the wording. Then what is really the truth in what I just watched? Because you have to think about certain things that they say that they add in for what I call fluff to help carry the storyline of the movie. You assume that everything they're showing you on that little box, that little screen for 2 hours, is the truth and what actually happened to the people in the story. But it doesn't really mean they went to Starbucks every Tuesday and got coffee. Might be just something they added in. So then you have to say, well, hell, if you'll just add that, then what's the truth of what the hell I've been watching for 2 hours? That's how I feel about true crime. That when all this boils down, whatever we hear about either side, either parent, grandparents, Pookie, Ray Ray, Bubba, it's a version. And how is it going to be verified? Because this is what happens. Somebody goes missing. Somebody goes digging into who they are, what they had going on, who they were married to, how many people they were married to, who had kids, who didn't have kids, who was raising them, didn't raise them. And then here comes the hypotheses, the theories. That's exactly what happened here in this case. It wasn't even probably a day or two. Somebody was running the social media, running up here on this box. Oh, she's going to court for custody. She was trying to get the kids. The grandmama had the kids. That was the first thing I heard. I think I heard that before I even knew the names of the damn women. He said, and she said. And sadly, all that running around repeating, the grandmama did it, the grandmama did it, I think the grandmama did it. In the end, it was the grandmother. And in the end, it doesn't really matter who did it, because you're talking about two lives. And whether the grandmother didn't like this woman or didn't want to give up custody, the point is, you took the life of that lady and you took the life of that other woman, and she didn't have a damn thing to do with it. She was just there to do her job. And sadly, 4 people were chosen to go to Oklahoma with Miss Butler. Are you hearing what I'm saying? 4 people were designated for that position. So as I said earlier in my live, imagine what those other 3 people are thinking about right now. That could have been me out there, begging and pleading for my life because I'm in tow with this lady to pick up her children, which are hers, and the judge said she had rights to see her damn kids. But that doesn't matter to the person that's holding the gun, the weapon, and they don't care about you, and they don't care about Miss Butler, because you're collateral damage. And this happens every day with people. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that lady was just there to do her job. Now, she's believed to be unalived. 2 bodies now taken to the medical examiner. We will wait for confirmation of ID of the 2 ladies. But naturally, this was during the search by law officials and the government, and it is believed to be the 2 women. This is horrible. And we also have children who now don't have a mother, didn't get to see her on that fateful day, and won't be seeing her again unless the family decides to have an open casket and someone allows the children to go view their mother's body. This is horrific. You see, you don't know the hour. the moment that you will leave here. And this is a testament, because I think a lot of people think in life, oh, it'll never be me. I'll never be in that situation, because people leave here in a multitude of ways. And you can see that in the stories I covered earlier. Each story is in a different demographic, different race of people, different set of circumstances, but each woman is no longer alive. A black girl allegedly went on a date with a white guy and ended up in a sex dungeon, 9 times out of 10 sexually assaulted, tortured, and then murdered, and then dismembered and thrown out in different parks in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A woman and a state worker went to pick up a woman's children, and now she and the state worker are assumed dead. A woman, don't know what she was doing a few days ago, out and about. Boyfriend bum rushes her, shoots her, puts her in her van, in her trunk, and leave her to die in the back of her vehicle, and leaves her van on a dead-end street. What happened with those two? I don't know. All death, murder, over nothing. One custody dispute, one between a guy and a girl that were dating, and another, a girl going on a date. So this is what I say to you, whether you're a man or a woman, especially women. You don't know people. You don't really know how people think about you. You don't know what people feel about you, and you can't trust people. And we have all been in positions where we could have been harmed, assaulted, or unalived. And if you think that you could not be that person, then you are an utter fool. Because the game is called trust. It is called blind trust. And that is what you have here. She trusted that she was going to meet this woman or whomever to pick up her children. And she had a state worker alone, which obviously was mandated by the court. And 2 people did not return, and children did not get to see their mother and spend time with their mother. All for what? This is what I say to Miss Tiffany. Was it worth it? Was it worth it, you unaliving this woman and this state worker? For your sake, you better hope that the state attorney's office does not ask for the death penalty. Because as I said in my live earlier today, Oklahoma has the death penalty, ma'am. Your boyfriend and the other 2 nimwits that went along with this ruse, you all have got to be the stupidest motherfuckers breathing. Because there is no way somebody could talk me into unaliving a person, period. I don't give a damn what they got going on. Because it's not my fight. It's not my problem. And I'm not going to spend the rest of my years sucking down on a cot in a small ass hole because you're mad at the world about whatever. Because that's all this is over. Selfishness. The audacity to kill another person because of whatever you thought was going on and what you thought you deserved. And that's you, Miss Tiffany. You are old looking hag for 54 and ought to be ashamed of yourself that you would sever your rights to life and sever the rights that woman to see her children for whatever you thought was wrong or whatever with Miss Butler. You now don't have the children. This is how dumb you are. And you so stupid that you didn't think law officials were not going to come knock at your door. You murdered her on her way to see you. What fool does that? Please explain to me. If I didn't know better, I would think you're on dope. Your son is allegedly in rehab. Well, maybe your ass need to be in there besides a small ass hole under the damn jail. Because I'm trying to understand the reasoning to snuff out this lady and this state worker and not think the police were not going to come knock on your damn door. So this sounds like to me somebody that's also under the influence of narcotics. I'm going to sure the hell say it. You either a drunk or an addict or both, because there's no sane reason to, one, kill the lady. Number two, to do it and think you were not going to be a suspect. And then the fact that your boyfriend, hee-haw looking ass man, lumberjack Willie, you decide to go right along with her. And then where'd you get the other two nimwits from? Are they married? So you two gonna be sending love letters to each other in prison, because you can't think you getting ready to get your ass out of there. Now I gotta ask everybody involved. Who had the weapon? How many people met the two women? What did you do to them exactly? Who pulled the trigger? How many times did you shoot the ladies? And the role of everybody arrested. Because let me tell you what's going to happen, and I hope this happens. Don't think you other two just going to blow the whistle and try to downplay your role. Oh, well, they only needed to use my shed or my such and such, and they call me needing a this or a barrel or I don't really care what you did. I don't care if you were there, you pulled the trigger, you did some torturing, you ate it with a shovel, because we don't even know where they were discarded, out in the wilderness or buried. But whatever the fuck your role was, you need to take the charge with whoever pulled the damn trigger. Because right now we don't really know who did what. Because for all we know, could be the grandmother orchestrated it. She was the mastermind. Do you understand? But she didn't put her hands on them. She didn't pull out a weapon. She could have been just the one that planned it. They all came in tow, maybe two separate cars, and jumped out and did the deed and did the discarding of the women. However it went, it's grimy as hell. And I would tell anybody listening to this live stream, if you are currently in custody, in a custody battle, or you don't even think it's a battle, you better make sure you got your ducks and shit in a row. You better make sure you don't end up in this situation here. If you are meeting the other person who has your child in an undisclosed area, it doesn't seem safe, you need to go back before the judge and tell them, I am not meeting nobody, nowhere off no barren ass road in the middle of nowhere. Because right now the state, you are just as responsible for your state worker being unalive and the murder of Miss Butler. You are equally responsible, because there's no way you should have signed off on having those women cross state lines into the fucking abyss, because that's exactly where they went. What you all signed off on was no different than if those two women had went and did a Thelma and Louise and rolled their car off a damn cliff. Okay? Rolled their car off a cliff. That's exactly what this was. Two people got in a car, driving out of Kansas, off a damn cliff. And I'm trying to understand why in the world you would say, oh yeah, it's okay. Go on out there in the middle of nowhere where it's not a working gas station, no eyewitnesses, no CCTV footage, no cameras, no stoplight, no nothing. An inoperable gas station. How in the hell is that right? And Miss Butler, God rest your soul. Why didn't you say something to the judge, to the supervisor on your case? I don't feel safe going out there. So now we have to ask, how many times has Miss Butler gone to that location? Number one. When did she start going to that location? Number two. Did she always have a state worker with her? Number three. Because imagine, if you will, she was going way out there to an undisclosed, inoperable place to meet to get her child by herself. By herself. Now, baby daddy, what's your role? Did you know that they were plotting the death of your baby mother, your children's mother? Because something tells me there's more to the story, because there always is. It's only a matter if you'll find out the truth. So this rehab stint, as I said earlier during my live stream today, what is the role of the baby's father? When did he go into rehab? How long was he supposed to stay in the rehab? Did he get visits from his mother? Was he able to come and go, as somebody mentioned in the chat earlier? Did he get visits and phone calls from other people besides his mother? Will we find out that other people are involved in this crime? And did he plot the death of his baby's mother with his own mother, Miss Tiffany Adams? What if we find out he has full knowledge of the plan, orchestrated the plan, asked his mother to execute the plan? You all better stay woke out there. Because the one thing I found interesting was this new information about the mother being allegedly volatile and coercing him to do things. The first thing I said to myself, I said, Queen, why does this sound peculiar to you? Now, I don't know these people from a can of paint, but what I knew wasn't right is obvious. Number one, Miss Butler not having custody of those damn kids, and why? The fact that he's in rehab and he's supposed to have custody of the children. His mother has custody of the children. And while these people are missing, investigators looking for them, out of the blue, you hear this cockamamie ass bullshit that he, feared his mother, she's volatile, blah, blah, blah. First thing I said was, how convenient. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I said to myself, how convenient. 2 women are missing. He's supposed to be the one taking care of the children. He's in rehab. Don't know why Miss Butler didn't have the children. Was it legal by the judge that the grandmother got the children? When did Miss Butler find out the grandmother had the children? Stay woke now. Was it through the courts that the grandmother got the kids? Because I'm not hearing nothing about that. Was it just a matter of the son had to go to rehab for whatever reason, either mandated by a judge or turned himself in, or a ploy to get rid of Miss Butler? See, I pay attention to everything. And that's what I'm waiting to hear, is that the son had knowledge and also planned this crime. So when did he go into rehab? What was the real reason for going to rehab? Because the timeline is going to matter. If he went into rehab recently, it will lead me to wonder if this was a ploy to knock off Miss Butler. And he had full knowledge. Do you understand what I'm saying? Number 2, if he's been there a while, couple of months, several months, could he still have had contact with his mother and orchestrated the murder of Miss Butler? Because we don't really know what everything's about pertaining to these children. And those are the questions you should be asking. Because as I said, it doesn't matter. They had no business killing the woman. But now your mind should be shifting towards murder is wrong, but why did it get to this extent just to keep custody of the children? And we have learned that a lot of people who keep children, other people's children especially, don't have no reason to keep them. That is monetary gain. So now we have to ask that. Did the grandmother work? What did she do for a living? Was she treating the children well? Was her boyfriend treating the children well? Did they have the right, decent people around the kids? Did the kids want to go home? Did the kids tell the grandmother they wanted to go home, tell the father they wanted to go home? Did they even talk to social workers and tell them they wanted to go home? What are the ages of the children? How long has she had them? Did she legally get the kids by the judge when the son went to rehab? That is important, because that will give us a timeline on how this plot came to fruition. Is it a chance that Miss Butler was going to get those kids back? Bingo card. Something else is going on over there with grandma and grandpa. And I know it's not nice to judge people, because naturally most people are not expecting the law to kick in their door with a warrant, so you're not going to be painted up sometimes when they come. But grandma looks old as hell for 54, and grandpa looks older than 54. They both are not morning stars. So what did they all do for a living? Legally, legal work, no illegal activity, no drug use, no excessive alcohol imbibing. Who are these people? Who are those other two? Let's get down to business. Welcome to the Vault XL. KFOR is the source. The bodies of two people were found in rural Oklahoma Sunday, just one day after 4 arrests were made in connection to the 2 missing Kansas women. Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations announced Sunday night that they recovered the bodies in rural Texas County. The missing person alert was canceled Saturday by the Oklahoma Highway Patrol for Jillian Kelly and Veronica Butler. Sunday marked 15 days since Jillian Kelly and Veronica Butler went missing. Wow, 15 days. Tad Callum, Tiffany Adams, Cole Twombly, and Cora Twombly have all been booked on suspicion of 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. OSBI also announced that at 10 a.m. Monday, they will be holding a press conference to speak to the investigation. KFOR.com News 4 is the source. Once again, the suspects' names are Tad Cullum, that is the boyfriend of the grandmother, Tiffany Adams. Okay? So, Tiffany Adams, Tad Cullum, Cole Twombly, and Cora Twombly. 4 people have been arrested in connection to the disappearance of these 2 women. And they're facing counts of kidnapping, 2 counts. 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and 2 counts of first-degree murder. That is the said information. Hello, Brooke. Wow, wow, wow. What a mess. What a damn mess. There isn't a day that goes by in talking about these stories that I actually just get a whole break of a day and not have to talk about one of the updates. And I think it is so pathetic, because you would think that people would have better things to do with their time. And I know that we are all human and we are susceptible to pain, misery, insecurities, jealousy, envy, anger, bitterness, revenge, assault people. But what you have to tell yourself is that this is not where you want to be. They found the body, sweetheart. They believed that the bodies have been recovered. That's why the missing alert is off by the state police. So that should be your sign number one that these are the women. Because once they take the alert down, they're pretty sure they've got the women. So the women are believed to be deceased, and 2 bodies were recovered today in Rural County, Oklahoma, Texas County, and we are waiting on ID from the medical examiner. There will be a press conference tomorrow, 10 a.m., and I'm assuming that would be Central Time. This is bad. And I feel sorry for the children because this is a young woman, 27. Oh, I'm old enough to be her mother. How terrible this must be for the children, her parents, okay? She also had a spouse, I believe, Miss Butler. Miss Jillian had a spouse. I believe he's a pastor. They mentioned that earlier in the live stream. Sad day for the church members. This is terrible because these women had lives. And that's what this sick-ass, stupid grandmama, she obviously didn't have a life. Because the fact that you would forfeit having access to the children, even if that meant you losing custody, I still can't see the judge not letting you have some type of visitation to the children unless he found you unfit, you and your son. So we need to ask that question, as I just asked a little while ago. Is it an issue that perhaps the grandmother was not fit? It wasn't mandated by a judge that she had custody. Because for all we know, the son got into some trouble, some old jacked up ass bullshit out there. He just gave the kids to his mother, or he was living with his mother. So we don't know anything. I don't know anything about these people. I don't know if the guy was already living with his parents or what. But the point is, she got the kids. Did she get the kids legally? And maybe that's why Miss Butler was trying to go to court, because the grandmother didn't get the kids legally. She didn't get them by a judge ruling. I won't doubt that's probably what happened. And that's what this court appearance was about. And she didn't want to lose the kids because she probably was getting some type of funds for the kids. Who knows? Jillian probably was paying child support to her. She didn't want to lose that. And it's sad to say that because a lot of people aren't just about the money. They're just about the food stamps, the money. God forbid if one of the children is disabled, mentally, physically, that's income coming in. And it's sad to view it in that manner, but we have sick people out here that's all they care about. A lot of people right now are only fooling with their own children because they're getting something of monetary gain for their child, either child support from the father, mother, or a disability check, or some type of survivor's check, or a check from a dead parent. They don't give a F about their kids. And you see it all the time. If it's not the biological parents abusing the children, using the children, the people who step in to raise the children, they're using the kid for monetary gain, money from the state, all of that. For all we know, once again, the grandmother could have been legally got custody of the kids, flip side, and she's getting money from the state. Some type of welfare, some type of something. I don't know. But it'll be a shame if all this is just about money. It's not about love. It's not about keeping the children safe, keeping them from this woman that maybe she thought was neglectful. Is that what this was about, Miss Tiffany? You thought this woman was neglectful? So let's ask that question. Miss Butler, was she ever accused of neglect, abuse of her children? Because I think it's time that you all start asking those questions. Because everybody's talking around the subject. I don't talk around the subject, and I'll dance around it. I know the lady is dead now. More than likely, that's her body taken to the medical examiner's office. But you do need to question why she didn't have custody of her damn kids. So are we talking about a woman who had children young, couldn't raise them, was unfit, finally got her life together, and now she wants full custody of her children? But this grandmother said, I don't want her to have these kids. Hell, my son ain't fit, she ain't either. But let's say all that was true at one time. Let's say at one time Miss Butler was unfit. But the judge said she is now. You didn't have to kill her. You didn't have to kill the lady. You could have went to court and done it the right way. And sometimes people will lie. People will manipulate in the courts. People will make up ugly things about you to get custody of a child. We have seen this happen. People will coerce their children to lie, say filthy things about the parent and what the parent allegedly did to the child. Nefarious deeds, if you know what I mean. And those allegations are not true. So now I'm going to ask that question. What are the ages of the children, once again? And was there any coercion from any of these people towards these children to make these children make up anything or say anything as far as physical abuse, mental abuse, any type of improprieties, of sexual abuse, anything? Did anybody make these children lie or make up something? Because I need to know why this woman did not have custody. And I'm going to say this, and some people are probably not going to like it, but what if you find out that Miss Butler mistreated her children? And as I said, got herself together allegedly, was found fit by the judge to visit her children, have, visitations with her children, visits. But what if you find out some not so nice things about her? Because as I said, when you're dealing with true crime, you have to accept what is, not what's assumed, not a theory, but the truth. Okay? The truth. And sometimes the truth is ugly. That's why I said you have to weigh all circumstances in a case. Because one, we don't know these people. And when you start going to Facebook and YouTube land, things can get distorted. And you don't get to the truth because you have listened to so much he said, she said, you don't know what the truth is. I'm one for hearing the truth. And I know also the truth is about perception. So what I see, you don't see. What I hear, you don't hear. So right now, somebody could come bring a receipt and say that woman was abusive to her kids 5 years ago, 10 years ago, okay? But that doesn't mean that her husband or her mama would believe it. Even if it's in ink, even if there was proof, even if the children said it. See what I'm saying? Because everything's about perception and what I want to believe in. So I think it's going to be very interesting that after death, we get some form of the truth of who the father is, how long he's been in rehab, if he plotted the deaths of this woman, what was going on with the grandmother in her life, what was going on with her interaction with Miss Butler, what was going on with Miss Butler and her life, how long has she been married to this man, do they have other children together, are there other children living in their house, did she really want these children in her custody, did she deserve to have custody of her children? You have to ask those questions. But like I said, this is not to negate the fact that she's no longer alive, because there's no reason to murder this lady, even if she had done some things in her past that was wrong or mistreated her children or lost custody for mistreatment of her children. She didn't deserve murder. Now, some would say, well, Angie, what if we find out some other crazy whack shit about her and these other ones, then I'll reserve my opinion until I get further notice. But I know that we have people who lose control, they don't have impulse control, and they pop off of some crazy nonsense or just an allegation. You have people like this. They hear something whack, they pop off. Whether it be beating a kid, mistreating a kid, sexual abuse, next thing you know, somebody's getting a pistol, a rifle, they're trying to hunt their asses down. Now, I'm one of those people, I'm going to be truthful. I don't feel nothing for you when you put your hands on a child. I'm going to say that. I don't feel nothing for you. If they catch you, all I can do is tell you to pray to Jesus, because there's no reason to be putting your hands on nobody's baby, abusing no child, physically, sexually, or mentally, because it's a child. And they don't ask to be here, and they sure as fuck didn't choose you as no mom and daddy. And if you came in to take care of that same child, they didn't choose you either. So I don't feel nothing for anybody that does anything to a child. And I'm also going to discuss that later with you all. With State Tennessee, we have, I think they've got a new law on the book, or trying to pass a law pertaining to child abuse with children, giving people life for sexual assault of children. So that'll be another topic I'll try to squeeze in this week if I can. But that's all I've got for now. I'm almost approaching an hour. I'm not going to hold you all. This is my, fourth live for the night. It's almost midnight here in East Tennessee. And I just wanted to bring you that update. The 2 bodies have been recovered in rural Oklahoma, Texas County. They are believed to be the bodies of Miss Butler and Miss Veronica and Miss Jillian, the mother and the state worker who went to see about picking up the children in Oklahoma. This is a very sad day. It's a horrific day, as I said, for the children, the husbands, the relatives, friends. This is a sad day. And I'm going to wait to see who decides to come out to talk, who's going to come out and give their version of what was going on with Miss Butler and Miss Tiffany, the grandmother. Will we get the whole truth to the dynamics of this relationship? The dynamics of why she did not have custody. How long has she been without custody? See, 1,000 questions. How old are the children? Did the children want to go live with their mother or not? Were the children happy with the grandmother? See, we don't have none of that. And I still find it strange that nobody in Kansas would talk about this woman missing, because I don't know what everybody knew in Kansas. And I refuse to believe that everybody in that small town knew what the hell was going on with her and this lady, unless she gossiped and talked about her business and it went around town and she was telling people some really crazy, whack stuff about that family, and that's why nobody wanted to go on film and talk. I'm just saying, I just find that strange. Just no different than Oklahoma. I refuse to believe that everybody in that town where they live knew about Miss Butler and the son, unless they were gossiping about Miss Butler. We will see. You entitled to your opinion about this case. Bye, I'm a realist, and I like to weigh everything equally. I don't like to just feed off of, the he said and the she said, because I know there's more to this story. There's way more to this story than just a grandma went ham and hired some people to kill this lady and a state worker. There's more to it that nobody has said or revealed. And I got a feeling it has a lot to do with Miss Butler. Oh, I believe that. Now, what's going to be the dicey part is believing what's revealed. Because like I said, no matter what's said about her, grandmama, the biological father that's in rehab, there was still no logical reason for murdering her. I want to make sure I make that clear in this live before I check out of here. There was no logical, sane reason to kill that lady. But I got a feeling somebody's going to bring forward allegations against Miss Butler. And they're going to say, whether it's the truth or not, that's why they unalived her. You watch what I tell you. That's exactly what you're going to hear. And people are going to be up in a storm, of course. There wasn't a reason to kill her, blah, blah, blah. But that's what you're going to hear. And that will be down the road, months from now, when they all get attorneys, and whoever decides to turn state's evidence, if it's even allowed by the state, that is what you're going to hear in the defense for Miss Tiffany Adams and for the boyfriend. You're going to hear some not so nice things about Miss Butler, whether they're true or not, but that's going to be the defense, because that's the only way that's all she's going to have, Tiffany, to try to give a logical reason for killing this lady. She's going to say, well, she was doing this and this and this, and hell, she might even turn on her own son and say he was doing all type of crazy stuff, and some of it, hell, probably is true. Hell, his ass is in rehab, and we already know that people do all types of foolishness and crazy nonsense in order to get their drugs. So it wouldn't shock me none. It wouldn't shock me none. It wouldn't shock me none. It just wouldn't. Pretty, ain't it? All right, everybody, I'm going to check out of here. Thank you for joining me. Press conference tomorrow, 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm assuming it's Central Time, so check in with the said information if you can. And I will try to bring you that press conference if I'm able to. If not, I will recap the press conference later tomorrow. It's going to cut into my other commentary that I already had planned pertaining to OJ. And I was going to do some information about P. Diddy, because there's some updates pertaining to him. New lawsuit pertaining to a niece he had working for him. She got pregnant, and she believes that he unlawfully fired her because she was pregnant. And I think it's something else about some funds. It's just a whole lot going on with him. I mean, every other day is something new with Puff Daddy. It's just like you can't even keep up. It's just another, as I said, a replay of R. Kelly. And this is what happens when people bring forward allegations. Next thing you know, it's something else. It's something else. You got people talking, famous people, Pookie, Ray Ray. Everybody's jumping out of a clown car pertaining to Puff Daddy. And that's expected. You either believe it or you don't. But it's just another R. Kelly, another Weinstein, another Epstein. It's all the same. Just secrets are finally coming out, or as we call them, bones. They're now flying out the closet, rolling out the closet, pushed out the closet, thrown out the closet. Son now implicated as well. It's just nonstop buffoonery. And as I said, it's expected. So I'm going to go because it's Troll City now. But anywho, thank you all so much for joining me. This is live number 4. Please check out my other lives pertaining to the Menendez brothers, Tiny House Living, a 3-part live on this subject here, the women, Nikita Davidson out of Birmingham, who was murdered by her boyfriend, and Sade Robinson, who was unalived and dismembered by a white male out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His name is Maxwell Anderson. He is also in custody. So we have several people in custody pertaining to unaliving women, Wisconsin, Alabama, and now Kansas, Oklahoma. And that's the set updates from earlier. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeGanji, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Prayers to the victims' children, families, husbands, communities, churches, everyone involved that know these women, know of these women, past these women. Prayers to you all. This is a very horrible situation, and I really want everyone to pray about these children, because in the end, no matter what happened out there in that rural area, we already know it's horrible, but children are left behind, And now we have to pray that somebody sensible will be able to take care of these children, because what we do not want is a repeat of what just happened to those two ladies. And what's going to be really terrible is that the state will not give any family members to children. That will be a bad situation. But I'm sure the judge will do what he or she thinks is best for the kids. And I pray that whomever they choose to raise the children will do right by the children and will at least allow the children to have visits with any relative that they deem fit to have access to the children. But like I said, with the given situation, a judge may decide nobody can talk to the children unless it's through maybe video chat only. That would probably be the safest situation for the children, is that they only talk to relatives by video chat only. And sometimes, a judge has to make that type of decision. I can't trust anybody related on either side to have physical access to the children or know of their whereabouts, locations, because we don't want a repeat of what just happened. And that's a sad, sad, pathetic rendering from a judge if they have to take that route. But in the end, the safety of the children is more important. That's my commentary. Thank you for joining me. Follow my network. Please check out my extensive library, 5,000 plus videos. Take the polls on my community page. And I will put up a poll pertaining to this rendering of the women's bodies being discovered, believed to be their bodies. And I'm going to ask that question on my community poll pertaining to Miss Tiffany Adams, the grandmother. How does she feel now that she is in custody? And knowing she won't be coming out of there, there'll be no bond. Oh, we know there'll be no bond. And will she say to herself, if she hasn't already, I should have never took this route to kill this lady and this state worker. And hell, they might just give me the death penalty. So once again, Miss Adams, was it worth it? It couldn't have been. There's no way it could have been. You just forfeited your life and those children's lives, their livelihoods, and you didn't have the right because it wasn't your place. It wasn't your boyfriend's place, and it wasn't the place of those two other people. And the one thing I cannot understand is how you talked 3 other human beings into helping you unalive this mother and this state worker. That's what's even more baffling. One person killing a human is one thing, but a total of 3 extra bodies, warm bodies to go along, this should tell you all something about the world we're in. Because as I said, it's one thing watching over your shoulder and looking at one person not liking you, having hate for you, but the fact that that one person could talk others and feeling the same about you, probably don't even know her, and then take your life. That's deep. And it's scary as hell. Thank you for listening. Fall Excel.